We get new games every single year, but what about the games we never got to play? Star Wars 1313. When we think of cool game ideas for Star Wars, we think about the Jedis with lightsabers and the jetpack of a certain bounty hunter. We've gotten plenty of games where you incinerate and cauterize everyone with lightsabers, and we almost got a game where you could play as the legendary bounty hunter known as Boba Fett. You would take control of Boba in Star Wars 1313 as you try to navigate Coruscant's underworld metropolis of level 1313. This game would have been different from any other Star Wars game because it was supposed to be rated M for mature. Why didn't we get our hands on an M-rated Star Wars game where we play as Boba Fett, you might ask? Well, when the Walt Disney Company acquired the Star Wars franchise, LucasArts was closed down and 1313 was terminated. 8 Days. First announced at E3 2006, 8 Days was a PlayStation exclusive that was to be set over the course of 8 different days and in 8 different states, which would have been the largest game map at the time. You would have a choice between 2 characters, one good and one bad, each on different sides of a mob but would cross paths and eventually work together. The game also featured an in-game clock that meant if you played during nighttime, the game would also be taking place at night. In June of 2008, Sony announced that 8 Days had been canceled, saying that resources needed to be reallocated to enhance other projects closer to completion and that the game not having an online mode wasn't the direction they wanted to go. However, in 2009, it was confirmed that the game wasn't canceled, but rather put on hold. So, never say never, I guess. Wild. Wild was a prehistoric survival game set in the Neolithic period in a procedurally generated world. Wild began development in 2014 at Wild Sheep Studio, which was founded by Michel Ancel. This game had a unique aspect in that it would have allowed you to possess and control different animals through the powers of a shaman. The animals would have included wolves, sheep, fish, ants, birds, cats, and more. In September of 2020, Ancel announced that he would be retiring for the gaming industry, and in mid-2021, it was reported that the development on Wild had stopped. Scalebound. Scheduled for release in 2017, Scalebound was a third-person action RPG being developed by Platinum Games. The game would have had a variety of weapons to defeat enemies, but what was really going to make it stand out from the rest was your sidekick in the game, which, by the way, just so happened to be a dragon. Having the power to command a dragon to devour your enemies is something that we are a bit sad we never got to experience. Thankfully, even though the game was canceled in 2017, Scalebound remains an IP fully owned by Microsoft. So, it is possible that we get to be a maniacal controller of our dragon sidekick after all. Someday. Fingers crossed. Silent Hills. Set to be the 9th installment in the Silent Hill series, Silent Hills was a horror game developed by Kojima Productions and published by Konami for the PlayStation 4. Directed by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, with the main protagonist to be played by Norman Reedus, which sounds familiar, doesn't it? First teased as PT, meaning playable teaser. The initial reception for the game was fantastic, having over 1 million downloads. Kojima, having issues with Konami, seemed to be the final nail in the coffin for this game, as on April 27th of 2015, it was announced that Silent Hills would not be continued. A year later, it was revealed that there would be a new game featuring Kojima, Del Toro, and Reedus, known as Death Stranding. Prey 2. One of the more highly anticipated games on this list, Prey 2 was formally announced all the way back in 2011 by Bethesda. This revealed a more open-world game than what players had experienced in the first one. The game reportedly got very close to an alpha state before development was halted for unstated reasons. Bethesda announced that Prey 2 was canceled in 2014, stating that it just wasn't meeting their expectations. And so we may never see a sequel to the beloved original Prey. Prince of Persia: Redemption. Can a game be canceled if it was never initially picked up? Well, Prince of Persia: Redemption was a proposed title in the well-known and beloved Prince of Persia series. It even had its own pre-rendered video pitch, which is what you're seeing right now. The pitch for Prince of Persia Redemption happened between 2010 and 2011 by Ubisoft Montreal, but it was never picked up. If only they could turn back the sands of time on that one. Okay, thank you. I'll be seeing myself out now. Gotham by Gaslight. Gotham by Gaslight is a one-shot comic created by DC Comics that is an Elseworld story, which means that the typical heroes are taken out of their usual environment and setting and put into alternate timelines and realities. This particular comic had Batman set in 1889 in a steampunk style of Europe and was supposed to be the inspiration for a new game. The game concept was pitched by Day One Studios and even had an early prototype that was created. The game unfortunately never got the green light, and we aren't sure why, which is a shame because this style of game looked as if it would fit the grittiness and gothic vibe that we know and expect from Batman. Fable Legends. A cooperative action RPG developed by Lionhead Studios, Fable Legends seemed as if it was going to be very similar to Dead by Daylight, with 4 hero characters battling a villain character. The 4 heroes would have to use teamwork to be victorious, while the villain would have an army of creatures at their disposal. Fable Legends, which would have had a free-to-play model, had a budget of around $75 million, which would have made it one of the most expensive games at the time. It seems as if this game was far ahead of its time with the model they were going for. With Microsoft closing Lionhead Studios in March of 2016, that subsequently canned the game. So now all that Fable Legends will be is a what if. So that's it, our top 10 canceled games. Let us know if there were any games that you didn't know about, any games that you did know about, and any games that you wish you would have had the opportunity to get your hands on. And also let us know if there's any other top 10 lists that you would like to see in the future. Leave a like if you enjoyed, as it truly helps us out. Stay awesome, stay yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.